that eventually led to the creation of CaGo Afar, an organization that operates with virtually no overhead costs and has become a modest but meaningful contributor to humanitarian and development efforts in the Afar region. What impact has it had on the ground? Joining me are the driving forces behind the initiative, Warren Kritz and Jason Kelly. A very warm welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
It's great to be here.
Was it 16 years ago that this got started?
Well, it's my first trip here was 19 years ago, but the start actually predates that by my representation as a lawyer in Canada for many Afar people who were coming into Canada. And they gathered and came to my office and told me the need back here. So my first trip was 19 years ago. This is the current one is now 13 times I've been here, always coming to Addis for a while and then going and spending as much time in the Afar region with the people, with the beneficiaries of our projects, with our local implementing partners.
And when did Jason join you?
A couple of years later, Warren got the foundation started, and then I was very keen to get involved. We had known each other through some other charitable efforts in Ottawa in Canada, and I approached him and I said, I'd really like to be a part of it. And he said, no, you've got to raise money. You've got to do all of these things if you want to come to the Afar region. And so I came in 2008, I believe was my first trip. And I only had planned on coming once, but when I went to the Afar region and saw the work that CaGo Afar Foundation was doing, I only got more and more invested. So it wasn't just one trip. I'm still coming here to this day.
CaGo Afar, this is an organization that you created to help raise funds for your cause here. When did you establish that?
Within 8 months of coming here the first time. So we registered a not-for-profit organization in Canada pursuant to our Canadian laws. I did the bylaws, recruited directors so that there could be members of the Afar diaspora in Canada involved on our board, and they could direct the organization. So I'm a lawyer. We do governance work. And then once we had some projects we were funding, we made application to the Canadian federal government for charitable status, which was granted to us. So we've got a Canadian charitable foundation that manages our operations in Canada. We raise money there, and then we have local implementing partners in the Afar region who come to us and say, we have a project we want you to fund. Would you look at it?
This is not an organization, an NGO with so much overhead costs. No.
Yeah, it's a Canadian NGO. We don't have
massive overhead.
We don't have any rent that we pay. We don't have any employees that we pay. We don't have any Canadian costs really to speak of. We're all volunteers. We're small, we're nimble, but we're very effective. We can respond very quickly to humanitarian crises, which there are many of in the Afar region, but we're also investing in capacity building, education principally. But there's some other features that we're quite proud that we've achieved. And we want to balance the reactions that we can make quickly to humanitarian crisis.
When you say humanitarian crisis, you're talking about drought and stuff like what is it?
It could be.
So there was,
yeah, well, healthcare, drought, climate change for sure. The refugee crisis, there's plenty of it. And so that's the humanitarian assistance. And we've invested in fresh water, medical supplies, medical equipment, medical expertise, education, food, nutritional supplements for refugees.
But you're not the first one to do that, right?
No, of course not. And we're small compared to some of the bigger ones that are operating, but we don't have a bureaucracy. So we're small, we're nimble, we're fast, and that's what we pride ourselves in, being able to respond quickly, but also thinking ahead to the capacity building, scholarships for primary school education. I can give you a couple of examples of projects that we're funding right now for young teenage students. There's an Afar Talent Academy, which is like a boarding school right on Samaria University campus. We're funding the library for that building, that boarding school. And then there's another one with another local partner for us called the Afar Pastoralist Development Association that has a hostel that students from far come and stay in the hostel. But the hostel's old and it's kind of run down and it needs upgrades. It needs a new roof. It needs new plumbing. It needs new electricity. So we're funding that. And we were there just 2 days ago to have a look at it, to take some pictures, to interview some of the local students, to interview the supervisor. What can we do to help? We like that.
So you've identified all the needs that need to be addressed, right?
Well, I wouldn't say
You believe so?
that's pretty ambitious. It's a big area.
Of the major ones.
Yeah, but we're filling in gaps where other larger NGOs are not able to or have left behind in what their planning is. So by coming here as frequently as we do, we can see it. And we meet all the time with our local partners and with the beneficiaries to see how the projects are coming and what might be the next project. Let's plan ahead. What does it look like 6 months from now, 12 months from now?
What are the new projects that you started working on that kind of attracted your attention right when you started?
Yeah, we have.
I mean, when you first came here, you must have been overwhelmed, right, by the needs out there, right?
Yeah, there's one thing that I learned by working with one of our major implementing partners is APTA, the Afar Pastoralist Development Association.
Been there for like 30 years?
Longer than we have, and it continues to this day. I was witnessing to the amount of need that they were addressing and the amount of ways that they were working with the Afar as pastoralist people too, in terms of mobile health clinics, mobile education, and they were really inspiring to me as a partner and getting a much better understanding of the Afar people, their culture, and in many ways that original step, I didn't know it at the time, is what probably led me towards where I did my tourism and my dissertation for my doctoral studies. So just getting that enmeshed and really getting to understand the people and seeing, and tourism was my background in Canada. I worked in the tourism industry for over 20 years, so I couldn't help but look at that from that lens.
So what did you look into in your PhD dissertation?
Really getting to understand how the Afar perceived tourism, how do they want it, do they not want it, what opportunities do they see that can be garnered from participating in it, what barriers are they confronted with in terms of being able to benefit from it to the degrees that they hope to. And, the Afar region is filled with wonderful sites and attractions, geoheritage ones, particularly along the north, but human prehistory with the Lucy site. It's a beautiful region, and the infrastructure is being developed. It's still in the very early stages, and I believe that my dissertation offers a bit of a cross-section. It gives you this picture of time of where tourism development is in the region. But one partner that we have now and that I met with when I started my dissertation doing my fieldwork here in 2023 is Samara University. Right, Dr. Usman, who's the president of the university, is a visionary guy and really connected with me to help give me some of the academic resources from the university as well to make that happen. So that really goes to show you the kind of capacity that's building in the Afar region when we have institutions like that and leaders like that make things all that more possible.
How do the Afars perceive tourism? Because that's a very interesting angle.
Well, let me tell you, they are some of the most giving people who I've ever encountered, and I've traveled almost 40 countries. I've done work with community-based tourism in Malaysia, and being out there with them, I have been in very remote sites where, particularly around the Lucy area, where there was a woman with her Deboita, and I come there to start investigating what's happening in that area for tourism, and she comes out and she starts offering me food and tea, and just making me feel welcome to come into her home and to share what she has with me with no expectation of return. So there's a strong sense of hospitableness within their culture, where those visitors are seen as their guests. The issue that they have is they can see that there's opportunities to leverage what they have to be able to make some money to buy medicine or to send their children to school. They're just struggling at navigating some of those early stage development issues right now.
So that gives you quite an interesting angle into your intervention, right?
Oh, it's fantastic, the convergence. And we've brought donors from Canada who have made significant donations to our charitable foundation. We give them a charitable tax receipt, which they use on their tax returns in Canada. And they come on a trip with Jason and I, and they see for themselves something that they couldn't otherwise access. It's not a commercial tour. It's a humanitarian donor tour, custom made by us and our local partners to go and travel through, starting in the towns and the villages in a transitional way, starting here in Addis, going up to Samara, to Logia, meeting with our local partners, giving a presentation if they want, because they have sometimes some very interesting expertise and backgrounds that can be used and leveraged for the local people. And then we go into more remote locations by land cruiser. I've even done it on a motorcycle. And I hope to do a more ambitious trip with a compendium, land cruisers and motorcycles, going through the countryside, staying in smaller towns and villages, sometimes in guest houses, sometimes in hotels, sometimes sleeping and camping under the stars with a campfire. And the welcome that Jason was just mentioning is there, and it's incredible. The feeling and the learning and the compassion. And then these humanitarian donors, become part of our virtual board of directors so that we can make decisions in situ, right in the site, of what they want their donation to be used, whether it's education for young girls, whether it's interventions with the refugee population and nutritional supplements, whether it's medical supply. I mean, people have their particular interests, and we allow that to blossom while we're doing these trips. And it's pretty incredible. I brought a lot of people over the many years doing exactly that, and I hope to do such a trip coming up at the end of November, beginning in December.
So do you think that your AGO is a lot different from the others that we know that operate here?
Fundamentally different, so far as I can tell, because we have this trip donor feature. We are guest honorary professors at the university. In Jason's case, he's
the University of Samara.
Yes, and he's very connected to the school and faculty of tourism and hospitality management. As a lawyer, I'm connected to the law school there. So we're both guest lecturers in our particular areas of expertise and interest. And we ask them, what do you want our presentation to look like? What do your students want? Because the students there are very interested in internationalizing their learning experience and gaining interesting perspectives from guys like us.
And you're a professor at the University of Hong Kong?
Yes, well, Hong Kong Polytechnic University, so one of the best tourism schools in the world, and it's a great pleasure to come and offer some of what I as much as I can to Samara University. I remember meeting with His Excellency Celeste Gurmay when I was here in 2023 doing my research. And
you mean the State Minister of Tourism?
Correct, yes, yeah. And he was he's the chair of Samara University as well. And one of the things about Samara University is it's a center of excellence for three things, but one of them is tourism. And so he shared with me how he saw Samara University to become one of the best tourism schools in Africa, if not the best, at least in the Horn of Africa. And so that's something that I've been working with them on. So we have not just, like to Warren saying, we're not just here doing NGO work. We're giving all of ourselves to the Afar region. So I'm also started in February the first International Advisory Board for the Tourism School at Samara University. I've just taken over the chairmanship of that over the next few years. And through that, looking at working with Samara University to try to rally these things that I've learned from doing my dissertation and bring parts of the university together after they read it to increase the impact and help the Afar.
So that brings me to the work that you are doing among the Afar here in Ethiopia, but you're also addressing, as you earlier suggested, the issue of refugees. When you say refugees, you're talking about refugees from Eritrea?
Mostly in the Afar region. Absolutely true. Most of the refugees in the Afar region, there are two refugee camps, but they're open camps. So you have, the refugees who have come and are still coming from Eritrea. And then the host community, they're identical in ethnicity, in language, in culture, and so forth. So a lot of refugee camps that are built by the UNHCR in countries are walled. There are big fences around them because the refugees are very different from the country people in which these camps are located. The opposite is true here. So these are open camps. So the refugees come and they register with the Ethiopian National Agency for Refugee Affairs, and then they get rations from the UNHCR, the World Food Program, and beyond. But they go to the camp to be registered and to get health care and education, but they don't have to stay there. They're in the local community. They blend, and it's wonderful. So, as Jason says, the sharing and the integration and the welcome, it's an obligation of, this is a transnational indigenous community of people. They're the most ancient indigenous group in the Horn of Africa.
So through your activities, is it fair to say that you have moved from what is classically developmental into something which is primarily a political sphere?
Well, we're a humanitarian organization, so we don't do politics.
Because if your background is any guide, you have been an immigration lawyer and basically doing political things, right?
Well, I'm an advocate. Okay, first and foremost, we're trained as lawyers to be advocates for our clients. So I've used that training, those skills, my experience in Canada with the federal government of Canada as a former lawyer there, and now in the private sector for many decades.
Okay, back to the question then. Okay.
Yeah, so I do protection work, let's call it that, or immigration work, or citizenship work, okay? It's all about transnational, representing people who want to cross a border, all right, and have status in a country like Canada. That's how I got into this, and I still do that work. So the diaspora community of the Afar people in Canada is quite tiny. It's very small, and they all know each other. Ottawa is the central location of most of them. And I've gotten to know them. We've done fundraisers. We do welcome. We do all kinds of things with the local community. And then I learn from doing that what the needs is of their relative or friend who might be, have left Eritrea. They're in Ethiopia or they've gone to another country. They want to be resettled. They want to be selected by Canada. They want to get to Canada to be reunited with their family members. So I don't do political work. In this organization that I've established together with Ahmed Yusuf Mohammed. He and I are the co-founders. He brought me here the first time 19 years ago, as I said. It's a humanitarian organization.
He's a member of the board, right?
Yes, well, he's my co-founder, and he's the vice president of this organization. He lives in Ottawa, and I communicate with him he's here with us now on this trip. And he too spoke at the conference up at Samara, and the second conference that happened over the weekend at the Riftana Hotel. So we have to be astute, we have to be careful, we have to be humanitarian. That's our focus.
Right. What I'm saying is, when you talk about the Afar, you're talking about a vast majority living in Ethiopia, the Afars, it's the original state and so on. But also you're talking about some in Eritrea and in Djibouti. Does that make your work a little bit difficult? Yeah.
It's difficult. It is challenging. There aren't too many people that I know of or ever met who do work like this. So we're unique. in that regard. And we do have to understand the politics, and we do follow the news and its developments and the challenges and the difficulties. And we read the human rights reports of these countries. We've got to be aware of all of that to be effective advocates for them, but to do effective humanitarian work. We've got to be sensitive, and we're very grateful that the Ethiopian government likes us, and we meet with them all the time here, and as well as in Ottawa at their embassy. We're friendly with them. We brief them. They're very grateful for the work we do because the Afar are very impoverished, and we're trying to help with that.
What does the future hold for tourism in the Afar?
Well, I mean, I think when I'm looking at tourism in the Afar region now, we're seeing more and more. When I first came here 15 years ago, it was almost exclusively Western tourists that I saw. Now we're seeing a lot of tourists coming from within Ethiopia, and I think that speaks to the economic prosperity that Ethiopia is seeing in order to be able to engage in these leisure activities, engage in tourism. But I think that it's something that is at a very early stage of development in Afar State compared to other regions within Ethiopia, and I think that there's a role for the government to play and partners like Samara University and the elders, etc., to come together and really start trying to structure the tourism development within Ethiopia so that it benefits the region as much as possible and is inviting to all tourists as much as possible. So,
from this conversation, what I feel is that you're really, really happy working and traveling to Ethiopia, doing this back and forth thing, and happy about everything that you do here. Is that a fair assessment?
Happy and passionate. Those two things coexist in us and the rest of our board. We're in touch with them and communicating with them all the time, back to Canada, sending little video updates and we're excited to have this rare chance in anyone's lifetime to have this kind of impact and have some kind of recognition, including now. We're grateful to you to show your interest, Tefera. Thank you. And we're lucky, we're happy, we're lucky, we're passionate, and we see the progress in the almost 20 years that we've been doing this work.
Someone said you are the walking and talking NGO. Is that how you feel about it?
Well, that's nice to hear you say that, and I'm grateful for your comment there. We've got skin in the game. We're invested. We're passionate, and we're not just talking. We're doing the walking, and we want more people to know and come to see what we're doing. And it's exciting to see our reputation and interest in what we're doing grow.
It's very special. So Ethiopia, I was just talking to Warren the other day. It's the place. It's the third most time I've spent in any country in my life. So I grew up and spent most of my life in Canada. I live in Hong Kong now, but Ethiopia is number 3. And it's not like coming here to visit anymore. I remember when we came here in February of 2025 this year. We walked into the APTA office, the Afar Pastoral Development, and there was a big banner, "Welcome Home." Right? And we genuinely feel that, and I think I can speak for you, that the Afar is like a family to us. We've done so much work. We're so invested into what they're doing and the challenges that they're facing, that coming to Ethiopia is a form of homecoming for us. It's a absolutely beautiful country, and I look forward to each and every time that we come here, and we're welcomed with open arms in Afar every time.
Jason, Warren, it was a pleasure having you on my show, and thank you very much for joining.
We're very grateful.
Thank you.